feel out of place still. Running out of options, screaming, oh Lord Jesus, take the wheel. Tempted to kill all of my plugs, cause what if they lace the pill? Be another legend falling like Lil Peep and Mac Mill. Feeling is familiar. A new girl was scared, I go back to her. I won't say her name, I know that it's cursed. Enough about my ex, I got real problems. Upgraded to my dream girl, start my pill problem. She holding all the perks until I go and pills out. Past ruin love for me, I don't know how to feel about it. Yeah, sipping lean slow. Any, many, money, more. But she still stay. I can't let her go. I can't let her go, no, I can't let her go. I can't let her go, no, I can't let her go. I can't let her go, no, I can't let her go. I can't let her go, no, I can't let her go. Being honey by my wrong. Sometimes it gets hard to handle. Like, oh no, here we go, here we go. Touch up in the middle of the night, gasping for air, I don't know how to make it happen. I can't breathe, I can't breathe. I can't breathe, I can't breathe. My favorite place, but I feel out of place still. Running out of options, screaming, oh Lord Jesus, take the wheel. Tempted to kill all of my plugs, cause what if they lace the pill? Be another legend falling like Lil Peep and Mac Mill. Feeling is familiar. A new girl was scared, I go back to her. I won't say her name, I know that it's cursed. I can't let her go, no, I can't let her go. I can't let her go, no, I can't let her go. I can't let her go, no, I can't let her go. I can't let her go, no, I can't let her go. Hey, baby, me again. I know I've been tweaking, praying for forgiveness. Demons at the clean. Never gonna be the drugged out type. Okay, okay, it's not okay. Vision blurry, so my family's TV wonder about me. My new girl make it clear, call her Lottie Blu-ray. Lottie Blu-ray. I don't want no one around me. Feel like they don't want me around anyway. Touche, yeah, touche. Till I'm running dark again. This is falling sleep, but I know all my demons gonna wake me. I can't get no peace. Now I'm starting to really go impatient. I'm my enemy, but I don't feel like talking about it. Leave me alone and let me be. Falling like standing tall, make them tumble when it's faster. Guess I'll just sit on the second is leave me alone, then I don't wanna be alone. Want you to leave me alone, but I don't wanna be alone. I don't wanna be there alone. I don't wanna be alone. I don't wanna be here alone. I don't wanna be alone. I don't wanna be. She can't be with me, I won't be. If she can't see with me, I won't see. Yeah, she's what I need. Yeah, like pills and Irene. Yeah, mix that with the lean. That from everything. Make my sprite bleed. Make my sprite bleed. Make your gang bleed. Try to gang with my back. 1 second and sleep. I don't wanna be alone. Want you to leave me alone, but I don't wanna be alone. 40 on me, yeah, smack it, Told you I ain't with the like it, Yeah, I'll be pistol packing, If I don't got it, then my brother got one, 40 on me, yeah, smack it, Told you I ain't with the like it, Yeah, I'll be pistol packing. Make your gang bleed. Try to gang with my back. 1 second and sleep.
Sometimes I think I overthink. I start to feel anxiety. There were times I couldn't even breathe.
shit blowing away. Not sure I'm looking to my friends. Leave it in the past, but I wanted to last. You were made out of plastic. I was tangled up in your drastic ways. Some new evil girls had the prettiest face. You gave me a heart that was full of mistakes. I gave you my heart, you just made heartbreak. Shadows in my room. I cannot change you, so I must replace you. I still see your shadows in my room. Can't take back the love that I gave you. It's to the point where I love and I hate you, and I cannot change you, so I must replace you. She was a bad bitch, nevertheless. Calling it quits now, baby, I'm a wreck. Crash at my place, baby, you're a wreck. Needless to say, I'm keeping a check. She was a bad bitch, nevertheless. Calling it quits now, baby, I'm a wreck. Crash at my place, baby, you're a wreck. Thinking in a bad way, losing your grip. Screaming at my place, baby, don't trip. Someone took a big L, don't know how that felt. Looking at you sideways, body on tilt. Ooh, some things you lose, got abused. She wanna ride like a cruise, and I'm not trying to lose. Then you left in the dust, unless I stuck by ya. You're the sunflower. I think you left me too much. Oh, you left in the dust, unless I stuck by ya. You're the sunflower. You're the sunflower. Every time I'm leaning on you, you don't make it easy, no. Wish I could be there for you. Give me a reason to. Every time I'm walking out, I can hear you telling me to turn around. Fighting for my trust, so you won't back down. Even if we gotta risk it all right now. I know you're scared of the unknown. You don't wanna be alone. I know I always come and go, but it's out of my control. You left in the dust, unless I stuck by you. You're the sunflower. I think your love would be too much, or you'd be left in the dust, unless I stuck by you. You're the sunflower. You're the sunflower. Then you left in the dust, unless I stuck by you. You're the sunflower. I think your love would be too much, or you'd be left in the dust, unless I stuck by you. You're the sunflower. You're the sunflower. I do anything see you just smile. I want you to prosper and come proper, even if that means I ain't by your side. I do anything in my power to see you just smile. I want you to prosper and come proper, even if that means I ain't by your side. Devil on my shoulder telling me I'll die soon. I don't really want that to impact you, but I don't know, maybe I'm just paranoid. I just want the best for you, I just want what's left of you. Oh, you tell me that you're sad inside. I'm sad that I can't satisfy. Yeah, I pray that I get it right this time. Maybe we'll be alright. Oh, you tell me that you're sad inside. I'm sad that I can't satisfy. Yeah, I pray that I get it right this time. Maybe we'll be alright. Hard to see you just smile. Or even if that means I ain't by your side. Where to see you just smile. Or even if that means I ain't by your side. I do anything in my power to see you just smile. I want you to prosper and come proper, even if that means I ain't by your side. I do anything in my power to see you just smile. I want you to prosper and come proper, even if that means I ain't by your side. I want it, I guess I don't need it. Treat it like a change, you know you can keep it. Lately I've been changing, kept that the secret. Now I'm letting it out the cage, gotta let it breathe. Yeah. Ain't the same as I was a day ago. It's a miracle, it's a miracle. Take the drugs, it feels like a miracle. Take the drugs and get a little spiritual. Yeah, not enough, I'm not enough.
दोस्तों एक बड़ी जबरदस्त कहावत है जिसमें कहा जाता है कि if you are not paying for the product, you are the product. अगर आप कोई प्रोडक्ट ले रहे हो और वो आपको फ्री में मिल रही है तो भैया कोई ना कोई तो रीजन होगा उसको फ्री में मिलने का। देखो कई सारी गवर्नमेंट होती है जो कि स्टेट गवर्नमेंट आपको फ्री में प्रोडक्ट दे देती है, जैसे कि आपको फोन देती है, टैबलेट देती है। लेकिन अब ऐसा भी देखा गया है कि भैया ये शायद इसको ट्रैक भी कर सकती है, क्योंकि इसको पूरा का पूरा कंट्रोल कोई ऑर्गेनाइजेशन ही कर रही है, जिसके भी साथ कस्टम कर रखा हुआ। तो यहाँ पर सैमसंग गैलेक्सी A30s मिल रखा है कई जगहों पर, जहाँ पर आप इसका वॉलपेपर तक चेंज नहीं कर सकते और साफ साफ लिखा हुआ आ जाता है जब आप उस फोन को ऑन करते हो कि ये फोन प्राइवेट नहीं है, इसको कोई और कंट्रोल कर रहा है। मतलब कि एडमिन उसको देख सकता है, जो भी चीजें होंगी उसके अंदर वो सारी चीजें देख सकता है कि आपका एक्टिविटी क्या है, आपका डेटा क्या है। मेरी आप में से कई सारे लोग जो कि टैक्स सेवी हो वो शायद कस्टम रोम डाल के निकल जाए पतली गली से, लेकिन चीजें ऐसी है कि भैया वॉलपेपर तक चेंज नहीं कर सकते, बाकी चीजें करोगे क्या। और कई सारी चीजें हैं जिसमें आपका कंट्रोल है ही नहीं। ज्यादातर कंट्रोल एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का है जो कंट्रोल करती है, फिर जिसका भी कस्टम रोम तैयार किया उसके बाद फ्री में बांटते हैं। फाइनली दोस्तों नासा ने अपना जेम्स वेब टेलीस्कोप अब स्पेस में लॉन्च कर दिया है, जो कि उन्होंने यूरोपियन और कैनेडियन स्पेस एजेंसी के साथ में मिलकर तैयार किया था और इसके बाद में उसको अब लॉन्च कर दिया। हालांकि इसकी डेट 18 दिसंबर 2021 को थी, लेकिन वेदर इतना अच्छा नहीं था तो अब जाके इसको लॉन्च किया गया और अभी ये 1 महीना लेगा अपनी फाइनल डेस्टिनेशन तक पहुंचने के लिए, जहां पर ये डीप स्पेस की रिसर्च में हेल्प करेगा नासा की और जो भी इनके साथ में पार्टनर बने हुए उन स्पेस एजेंसीज की। दोस्तों ऑनलाइन क्लोथिंग शॉपिंग के मामले में अक्सर ये देखा जाता है कि जब आप क्वालिटी की तरफ जाते हो तो उसका प्राइस भी काफी ज्यादा हाई हो जाता है, जो कि आपके बजट के बाद निकल जाता है। लेकिन जब आप लोअर प्राइस की तरफ जाते हो तो आपको क्वालिटी भी काफी ज्यादा गिरी हुई मिलती है। लेकिन अगर आपको अच्छी क्वालिटी चाहिए और बजट के अंदर चाहिए तो भैया आपको मीशो नाम की एक एप्लीकेशन को डाउनलोड करना पड़ेगा, जहाँ पर 1 करोड़ से भी ज्यादा यूजर मौजूद है। वहाँ पर आप मेंस टी शर्ट सिर्फ 199 रुपए में ले सकते हो, वो भी टॉप क्वालिटी की। और इतना ही नहीं, यहाँ पर आपको टॉप क्वालिटी के मैन फैशन एट बेस्ट प्राइस मिल सकती है, चाहे आप किसी दूसरी एप्लीकेशन के साथ कंपेयर करके देख लो। प्राइस और क्वालिटी के मामले में यहाँ पर आपको पैसे कम और क्वालिटी टॉप की मिल जाएगी। यहाँ पर इस एप्लीकेशन का लिंक मैंने अपने डिस्क्रिप्शन में दे रखा है, जहाँ से आप डाउनलोड करके शॉपिंग कर सकते हो, जहाँ पर आपका पहला ऑर्डर आपको 100 रुपए डिस्काउंट के साथ में मिलेगा, या फिर 30% का आपको फ्लैट ऑफ मिल जाएगा। शिपिंग बिल्कुल फ्री रहेगी, कैश ऑन डिलीवरी का भी मामला बड़े आराम से रहता है। और रिटर्न अगर आपको करना चाहो कि फिटिंग में दिक्कत होती है तो भैया वो भी रिटर्न कर सकते हो। यहाँ पे 60 लाख से ज्यादा प्रोडक्ट मौजूद है, चाहे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की बात करो या पेट की बात करो, वॉलेट्स की बात करो, सनग्लासेस की बात करो, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स की बात करो, मोबाइल गैजेट शूज तक आपको मिल सकते हैं 500 रुपए से कम के अंदर। और यहाँ पर टी शर्ट वगैरह या फिर ट्राउजर वगैरह या फिर जूते वगैरह की शॉपिंग अगर आप सोच रहे हो तो वो 1000 रुपए से भी कम में की जा सकती है। तो लिंक मैंने डिस्क्रिप्शन में डाल रखी है, जहाँ से आप डाउनलोड करके अपना पहला ऑर्डर करके 100 रुपए डिस्काउंट पा सकते हो। दोस्तों इस दुनिया के अंदर बहुत से ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो कि दूसरों की चीजों को देख के काफी ज्यादा जेलस महसूस करते हैं और उनको नुकसान पहुंचाने की कोशिश करते हैं। चीजें वगैरह होती हैं, जैसे कि यूके की एक महिला है ना वेलेनेट, जिन्होंने पार्किंग के अंदर देखी एक टेस्ला मॉडल 3 और उसके बाद में उन्होंने ये प्रेटेंड किया कि वो अपनी गाड़ी के अंदर से कुछ सामान निकाल रही है, लेकिन वो एक्चुअली में अपनी गाड़ी की चाबी से उस टेस्ला के ऊपर स्क्रैच मार रही थी। और स्क्रैच मारने के बाद में वो वहां से चली गई। अब उनको ऐसा लगा कि भैया अब किसी को पता नहीं चलेगा और इसकी टेस्ला मॉडल 3 मैंने नुकसान कर दिया है उसका, लेकिन एक्चुअली में उसके अंदर होते हैं कैमरे और उन कैमरों ने रिकॉर्ड कर लिया कि भैया ये महिला स्क्रैच मार के गई है उस कार के अंदर, जहाँ पर कोर्ट ने फिर फैसला दिया कि भैया $1450 इस महिला को फाइन लगेगा, जो कि होता है करीबन 1,10,000 रुपए के आसपास में। और वो इस महिला को चुकाने पड़े उस गाड़ी की रिपेयरिंग के लिए। और इसी के साथ साथ फ्री पार्किंग के अंदर एक महिला ने अपना निसान नवेरा नाम का कोई ट्रक होगा वो खड़ा कर दिया, जो कि काफी ज्यादा बड़ा है। और फ्री पार्किंग के लिए जो गाड़ियां होती हैं वो छोटी होती हैं, सो वहाँ पर बड़ी गाड़ी को इन्होंने छोटी पार्किंग के अंदर खड़ा कर दिया, ये समझ के कि फ्री होगा। लेकिन उसके बाद में इनको $140 का टिकट पकड़ा दिया गया कि भैया ऐसा नहीं चलता है, यहाँ पे आपने 2 गाड़ियों की जगह घेर ली है, बल्कि साइडों से भी आपने गाड़ियों को कम जगह दी है, क्योंकि आगे पीछे की तो जगह घेर ली और साइडों की जगह घेर ली, क्योंकि बड़ी गाड़ी चौड़ी नहीं होती है। तो यहाँ पर 10,000 रुपए का जुर्माना इनको भी पड़ गया। दोस्तों आपने अजय देवगन की प्यार तो होना ही था मूवी तो जरूर देखी होगी, जिसमें एक बड़ा जबरदस्त सीन था जिसके अंदर वो कार को रेलवे ट्रैक पर चलाना स्टार्ट कर देते हैं, क्योंकि पुलिस वाला उसको गोली मार मार के टायर को पंचर कर देता है। लेकिन इस तरीके की एक एक्चुअली में गाड़ी भी आ चुकी है, जो कि फर्स्ट ड्यूल मोड व्हीकल कहलाएगी इस दुनिया की, जो कि रेलवे ट्रैक पे भी और रोड पे भी चल सकती है। इसके अंदर रबर के टायर भी मौजूद है और ट्रैक पर चलने के लिए स्टील व्हील भी मौजूद है, जो कि इसको 60 किलोमीटर/आवर की स्पीड से रेलवे ट्रैक पर दौड़ा सकती है और 100 किलोमीटर/आवर की स्पीड से इसको रोड पे चलवा सकती है। दोस्तों स्वीडिश स्टार्टअप कंपनी जिन्होंने एक माइक्रोचिप तैयार करी है, जो कि स्किन के नीचे इम्प्लांट की जा सकती है। ये एक तरीके का कोविड-19 वैक्सीन सर्टिफिकेट है। इसको स्कैनर में दिखाओ, उसके बाद में पता लग जाएगा कि भैया आपकी क्या डिटेल है, आपको कब कब वैक्सीन लगी थी। लेकिन कहने वाली बात यही है कि भैया जब मोबाइल एक खुद आपका एक बॉडी का एक अंग बन चुका है, अब तो उसके अंदर आप सर्टिफिकेट को लेके घूमते रहते हो कहीं भी, तो इसकी क्या जरूरत पड़ेगी। और लेकिन जिनको भी लगवानी होगी ये करीब $112 का रहेगा और लोग इसको लगवाएंगे भी, क्योंकि उनको उतना भी सीधा हाथ दिखाया, स्कैनर में आया, डिटेल बाहर। तो फिलहाल के लिए दोस्तों इस वीडियो के अंदर इतनी अपडेट थी। अगर वीडियो आपको पसंद आती है तो इस वीडियो को लाइक जरूर करना, शेयर जरूर करना और इसी तरीके की और वीडियो देखने के लिए चैनल को सब्सक्राइब जरूर करना। और सब्सक्राइब किया तो बेल का आइकॉन पर दोबारा वरना आपको मालूम नहीं चलेगा मेरे को वीडियो डाली नहीं है। ऑनलाइन सेशन फाइनली क्या दिक्कत पता चली यार, इंटरनेट स्लो है ना यार, छोटे को हम लोग मार सकते तो क्या मार सकते तुम यार, छोटे भाई और मेरे वहां पे what's going on? We say we need the next one. So going back over is we've got the source now. For the source for the image, we're going to go ahead and say I'm going to go ahead and say song info the album dot. So to fix it, we need to, this has gone non-active, so you need to play, stop, and now if we refresh, you see it come through. and then you can kind of use your, you see it's playing, so that's why it's now this. Right, you see, so it knew that it was playing, so it didn't. Now we just need the handle to stop. Okay, so let's keep going strong, guys. We're nearly up. So now we're going to first. Hello guys, Crispian. He's here to 95 watt CPU. I actually thought is CN. Good, let's get back to horror. Good, let's get back to okay. This is Battlefield 3 now. Playing C40x4. What's up, Tom? I can see you on. I've been on the run, man. Yeah, I just got back to town today, man. I went to that bar down southeast, that marker talking about it. I was like, what happened, man? I just went in to get a gold plate, and I'm thinking, you know, it's gonna be a little jealous out of it. You're right. Hey, yo, Max, just call. Isn't it a good idea to build an entire computer from scratch on breadboards like this? Well, that seemed like a strange question for someone who's basically made an entire YouTube channel out of doing precisely that. And I sell kits with all the parts, so you can do it yourself. So obviously I'm a pretty big fan of building computers on breadboards, and the big reason I really like it is that it forces you to think through how everything works. You know, I just felt like something was missing with these projects where you get a pre-made circuit board and you just solder a bunch of components to it. And don't get me wrong, it's great if you want to learn how to solder, but once you know that, I just don't see how attaching a bunch of components to a circuit board teaches you much about electronics. In fact, the typical experience is you solder the whole thing together and plug it in, and it just works the first time. There's nothing to troubleshoot because you don't need to understand how it works, and so you don't. This, on the other hand, really forces you to think about each individual connection to each pin, and as you build each section, testing and each as you go, there's a very good chance things aren't going to work perfectly the first time, and that's a good thing. It forces you to think about why, and it helps you build a deeper intuition for how it all works. And so that's what I really like about doing big projects like this on breadboards. But aside from being a lot more work, which I think is a good thing, there are definitely some caveats to be aware of when building complex projects like this on breadboards. First, not all breadboards are the same. There's a big difference in quality between the cheap $2 breadboards you can get and a higher quality $8 or $9 breadboard. And it's true they look pretty similar, but once you look inside, each row on the breadboard is connected with a metal strip that grabs the wires that are inserted. And if I dig under the backing here, I can remove that metal piece so we can take a closer look at it. And here it is. This is what it looks like. And we take a closer look, you can see the wires are inserted like this here and make contact with the metal here. And in a good quality breadboard, this metal is nice and flexible. And you can see even if you insert the wire at kind of a weird angle like this, it flexes like that and then pops back nicely. You can also see it's nicely shaped so that when you insert the wire from the top, which is what you'd be doing, it kind of finds its way in there nicely. So these make a very good contact with the wire, spring back, so they last a long time, and everything else. So let's take a look at the cheaper breadboards. The construction on a cheaper breadboard is pretty much the same, so it's actually pretty hard to tell the quality just by looking at a breadboard, which is unfortunate because it means it's easy to pay for a high-quality breadboard and end up receiving one that's lower quality. And it may not even be the fault of the person selling it to you, since they may just not realize that there's such a big difference. But anyway, here's the same piece from the cheap breadboard, so let's take a look at the difference. And so you can see it's the same basic shape, but right away you can see there's a huge difference here. The metal's just not as springy, and so it doesn't snap back together, and so it may not make great contact with the wire, as you can see here. And it actually gets worse, over time if you insert something big. You're not going to make great contact there. And a lot of problems building a more complex project like a computer or these two wires here. And anytime you have two pieces of metal close together, like you have these two wires that are close together, maybe you actually have a capacitor. And that's one of the schematics, and therefore a capacitor is two plates next to each other, but not touching. And the way a capacitor works is you have a different
difference in electrical potential on either side, and a charge builds up between these two plates. And another way of saying that you have a difference in electrical potential between 2 points is saying that you have a voltage across those points. That's what a voltage is. That voltage orbit across the power rails to help stabilize the 5 volts that are on those power rails. Across this, always going to see a consistent 5 volts, or as close as we can get to that. And that's, I guess, one of the other maybe drawbacks of breadboards is that it's kind of hard or at least inconvenient to get these capacitors directly across the power rails of a chip like this. You've got to kind of put it across. And some of these chips, the power is just kind of in an inconvenient place. But I think, for what we're doing, it's probably good enough just to have a couple capacitors here. These will still help stabilize the power rails without, really getting in the way too much. So that's fine. We can add capacitors here if we want to stabilize the voltage and keep the voltage from changing like we do on our power rails. But elsewhere, we have signals that need to change voltage rapidly. Any of these signals needs to change voltage rapidly because they're carrying signals, and that has to change. And can hold is well, if you've got a wire with a current going through it, you're going to have a magnetic field around that wire. And if the current flowing through the wire changes, then the measuring going in. And so that goes in on this side, and then it goes through a whole bunch of connections, and then we can measure it coming out over here. Current flowing through that sine wave, and we're measuring higher frequencies. Zoom in here, you actually start to see something happening here. You see the output, which is the yellow. Actually, no, the yellow is the input. So you see the green, which is the output, is actually shifting a little bit from the yellow. So there's a phase shift happening there, which is kind of interesting. And that is perhaps because that inductance and capacitance that I talked about is going to resist a change in voltage, it's going to resist a change in current. And so it may delay, increase. But you also see the green, which is the output, is actually decreasing. So it's starting to attenuate. And so if we go higher and higher frequencies, and that's about as high as we can go, up to 20 megahertz is as high as I can go with this. But you can start to see that the green signal, which is our output, is being attenuated, is being phase shifted, and it's being attenuated. And actually what I can do is I can automatically sweep through all of the frequencies here. So do a frequency response analysis and run analysis. And what this will do is actually sweep through all the frequencies from 100 hertz all the way up to 20 megahertz, which is as fast as this will go. And what you're seeing is it's plotting the phase shift, which is, I believe, the red line. So you can see that's staying pretty close to 0. And then it's also plotting the gain, or in our case, attenuation, which is the blue line. What we saw when we were looking, also dipping by, a few decibels. That's that separation and phase shift that we're pretty interesting to see that. So no problem, right? We're discussing. Well, it's not so simple. Putting a square wave is actually made up of sine waves. So here's a 1 megahertz sine wave, and I'm generating with this first formula here, which has a frequency of 1 million. And so you can see the period here is 1 times 10 to the minus 6, or 1 microsecond. So that's 1 megahertz. But of course, it's a sine wave, and we're looking for a square wave. Well, we can get closer to a square wave by adding another sine wave to it. So here is a 3 megahertz sine wave, and I've made it 1/3 of the amplitude. And if I add these two together, so f of x and g of x, if I add those together, we get this, which is a little bit more square-shaped. But if I add to that h of x, which is a 5 megahertz square wave at 1/5 the amplitude, so we add h of x, you can see it gets a little more square-shaped. And we can keep going. I can add this next sine wave, which is 7 megahertz. And you can see it gets even more square-shaped. The slopes are a little bit steeper here, and the tops are a little bit flatter. And in fact, to get a true square wave, we could add up all of the odd-numbered multiples of the fundamental frequency, which in this case is 1 megahertz. And if we add all of those up, all the way to infinity, that would give us a true square wave. So let's take a look at this other setup here that I've got. So I've actually got a formula here that represents the sum of odd-numbered multiples of a 1 megahertz sine wave. And I've got this 2k minus 1 factor in here, as well as divided by 2k minus 1. So if k goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then to kind of scale this up, just change that n. And so this is where we were before with n equal to 4, with 4 terms. But we can keep going, and the more and more terms that I add, the more and more it looks like a square wave. But also, the more terms that we add, the higher the frequency. So this looks like a nice, sharp square wave, but the frequency, the maximum frequency that I'm using to get that is over 100 megahertz. So, in reality, because with high frequencies, like 115 megahertz, are going to be very susceptible to small amounts of capacitance and small amounts. So the question is that a big deal? Well, in our last video, we looked at this timing diagram for the 6502 CPU, and we figured out that we weren't going to have any problems complying with all of the constraints that are set out in here. But there's one actual timing requirement that I kind of glossed over that actually turns out to be one of the hardest constraints to meet. And that's this time here, this TF, which is the fall time, and TR, which is the rise time of the clock, with 5 nanoseconds. 5 nanoseconds is not a lot of time. And just to get a picture of that, I can add 2 lines here that are 5 nanoseconds apart. So I'll add these two, and these are centered around 5 times 10 to the minus 7th, which is half a microsecond. So it's centered around this point, sort of halfway through, which is where we have this transition. And then it's bracketed, plus or minus 2.5 nanoseconds, basically 10 to the minus 9. So minus 2.5 to plus 2.5 is going to give us a gap here between these 2 lines of 5 nanoseconds. And so as you can see, 5 nanoseconds is really short. So let me zoom in here and see if we can see what's going on a little bit better. So I'll change the x-axis to go from 4 times 10 to the minus 7 to 6 times 10 to the minus 7. So there we can see things a little bit better. And you can see we're going from 5 volts down to 0 volts within 1 megahertz. So let's reset.
So things got a little bit out of control. I sent an email to a whole lot of YouTube channel owners pretending to be Roblox with my video idea of intending to rickroll them by making them think that Roblox was trying to get them to sponsor their videos. That's right. So I made a fake email trying my best to impersonate Roblox so that all these YouTubers who I sent this thing to would be convinced by it and click it, just to see that at the bottom of it would be a video demonstration of the ad that Roblox wanted them to promote, and it was just a 12-second long rickroll. This is an example of the type of email that I had sent out to a large amount of people with a lot of subscribers on YouTube. The only reason why this video idea never turned into anything was because of the responses not being all that entertaining. Everyone either didn't reply or they actually fell for it and tried to go through with the sponsorship. And on the topic of sponsorships, so that's pretty much all there is with that. Now after that happened, just a little while later, I actually got an email, and this time it was the real Roblox, and they emailed straight to my personal email, which wasn't even the fake email that I made to contact these YouTubers, hoping to rickroll them with a fake sponsorship. They just straight up, directly contacted me, and it was actually Roblox, and they went on to say this. Hello to the YouTube channel owner by the name of the Tech Realm. I'm the social manager for Roblox. We have noticed a lot of support messages to us recently have been traced to a series of emails sent out to other content creators under the assumption of the Roblox name. As you know, these emails falsely entice these content creators to submit to a brand deal, and did so under the fallacious name, big words, of us, Roblox. It is because of this I'm reaching out to you. It is important for you to understand that we will not be tolerating these fake impersonations, and further action will be taken if you do not refrain from this action once again. If you have any further questions on this matter, please do not hesitate to contact us. If you have a dispute about this play, you can reach us through our legal portal on www.roblox.com. Thanks for your consideration, Jeremy. Roblox social manager and team. Are you saying I'm Jeremy, or are you Jeremy? I am kind of scared at this moment because I was not going to want to get into this situation like I was with Microsoft. So I was like, okay, I'm sorry to hear this. Forgive me. But I'm not all that familiar with legal business. I've attached an in-depth apology video statement for your company. Yeah, it was a video statement. It was connected to the email. You get the point. Like, you just bring it with 16 seconds long or some crap like that. Maybe you could take a wild guess, just an educational guess. I know it's kind of hard. Why you won't get it?